Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, depending on what time of the day you're watching this video. My name is Amit Sodha, back again with BSI Business Spotlight Series to listen to what Nikhil Sehgal has got to talk to us about today. So, Nikhil, very quick background. He runs a business called Vast Minds. He's been in business for over 6 years, and I've had the privilege to talk to him for the last 15 minutes about how he's got to where he is. Some great learnings for him to share with you guys. Nikhil, welcome to the session. Good to have you on board.
Yeah, good to be here, Amit.
Excellent. So let's get started with getting to know a bit more about your business and what service you're actually providing at the moment.
Sure. Just a quick high-level overview of Vast Minds itself. The mission of the company is to make remote health assessments more accessible. And we serve two types of customers. The first are insurance providers. So we help insurance providers acquire more business quickly and at a tenth of the cost. So we're talking about life insurers here. And the service we provide is a remote risk health assessment. So we are able to remotely assess risk of prospective policyholders who want to purchase life insurance policies. So that's the first way we provide value to insurance providers. And the second way, which is a little bit more of a recent stream of ours, is serving corporate wellness schemes. So we are the first platform in the market to offer a corporate wellness scheme that allows employees to track, monitor, and incentivize them for better health and wellness by analyzing their physiology over time. And that's purely through software. Previously, you'd have to have an Apple Watch or a physical device to do this. Our software is able to do this using, only software, no physical device needed. So there's two types of customers we serve.
Fantastic. And you mentioned something really interesting in your on your website, which I think the audience needs to know about. It is so simple what you do, and it involves two steps. This plus this equals your entire body health. Can you tell
Yeah.
me a bit about what was this and this that you spoke about?
Yeah, right. So we have two parts of our equation. Really, it is that simple. A plus B. So A is a video of your face. B is our AI engine. And that equals C, which is an entire comprehensive overview of your physiology, including your resting pulse rate, your respiratory rate, your oxygenation levels, your stress levels, your heart rate variability levels, which informs cardiovascular risk. We're working on monitoring blood pressure through that same modality. We're also scoring you based on aspects of your life. So just from those biometric measurements, we can understand how active you are, how well your sleep is. So, and that can be gathered in less than 45 seconds.
Wow. In less than 45 seconds. Here I am thinking a half an hour CT scan for all that kind of stuff, but you guys do it in 45 seconds. Sounds brilliant. Now, one thing a lot of the listeners are probably thinking about is ideas. How do you get such ideas? And normally they come from inspiration. So, Nikhil, talk us through what inspired you to go and jump into this idea and make it reality.
Yeah. So, when it comes to ideas, I don't think this is interesting because I think people, probably the listeners here, think, oh, to come up with ideas, I need to, sit on a beach somewhere in a tranquil place. I need to have a journal out in front of me and just write the first thing that comes to my head. I don't think that's the best way to come up with ideas. I think the best way to come up with ideas is to start questioning why things are the way they are. And that comes down to a principle called first principles thinking. So for example, I think for us, we were questioning why do you really need to purchase a physical device? Why do you need to go in for a physical checkup to gain access to a deep understanding of your physiology? Right? Surely this should be democratized. Surely anyone should have access to this information. Right. So that was the first step, questioning why, questioning the status quo. Why are things the way they are? And you often come up with innovative solutions to break that mold. So I would always think, I like to come up with ideas by thinking why things are the way they are, and figuring out reverse engineering how to break the status quo.
Awesome. And I can see where that leads to your out of the box thinking, questioning the way things are, going against the grain, and being daring enough to think if things are being done like this, is there a way of making it easier?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Sorry, I'm just interrupted by a Teams call there.
That's quite all right.
I think you do have to you do really do have to question why things are the way they are.
Mm,
I think actually an interesting example of this, uh, which I read coming out of one of my health tech peers in New Zealand, is they say, or in the Netherlands, they said, why do people have to wait? Why do people have to arrive at an airport 2 hours before their flight?
yeah.
Right? We all experience this problem, but we don't. None of
Mm.
us question it. Does anyone really question why you have to attend at the airport 2 hours prior to your flight?
I
Right?
suppose the obvious answer is chuck your bag in the baggage counter, and that's about it, really.
Right, yeah, but that is, no one questions it. Everyone just gets on with their life, with arriving 2 hours before their flight, and the reason is it takes time to go through security. Um, as you can see, you spend a lot of time in the security queue.
Yeah.
And so someone from the Netherlands questioned why this was the way that it was, and they developed a device which they now sell to airports in the Netherlands, which can scan, or which can do a scan of your entire body as well as your suitcase without you having to empty the contents of your suitcase on the
Wow.
conveyor. So guess how long they now require users or passengers to attend prior to their flight? Just take
Hmm.
this.
I can't guess anything less than half an hour. It's got to
Yeah,
be
15
probably,
minutes. 15
wow,
minutes. Right? That is
15 minutes.
that is the definition of challenging the status quo. You've just made
Look at
something,
that.
you've just literally saved time of millions of passengers every day by
Hmm.
questioning why things are the way they are. It's a random example, but I thought it was pretty funny.
No, it's actually important because plenty of business owners think about how do I create the next product line for my company or the next dish I'm
Yeah,
going to be serving in my restaurant, and questioning the status quo. Hey, look, great way of thinking. And the first principle is thinking of just questioning things out there. Why is it
yeah.
as it is right now and looking for another solution? Brilliant. Now, Nico, you mentioned that you used to work in the corporate world, particularly in banking, and
Mm-hmm.
specifically the kind of technology and trading side.
Yeah,
One would think, good job, good career, pretty much secure. But it sounds like you threw it all out the window and you
yeah.
jumped ship to the be your own boss side. What made you kind of throw away the security of, having a regular paycheck coming through the door to starting your own business where you don't probably know where the next bit of money is going to come from?
Yeah, it's true, right? I still have anxiety to this day, right? To make sure
Hmm.
your operational cash flow is healthy. It's still it's a stress I never had, right? So the
Hmm.
question, why? Why do you do it?
Yeah.
And I mean, the simple reason is there is exponential potential in taking a risk on your own thing versus staying in a corporate role, which might be cushy and might be secure. So I think if I projected my earnings over the next 10 years in that corporate role, they would increase linearly. But if I was to project my earnings by doing my own thing, there's obviously a natural exponential growth that I could
Hmm.
leverage. But of course, that exponential growth comes with some risk.
Absolutely.
So I think it depends on someone's risk appetite. Um,
Hmm.
I would say the only risk is not taking a risk, um, right? Because inevitably, I try and I try and act. I use the casino analogy a lot, right? The casino. Why does the casino only win when they have a 51% edge over a participant? Right, 51% is not a lot. Right, they have a
Hmm.
1% edge over a participant, but they still always win.
I
Right,
suppose it's
and
the accumulated benefit over time or something that over 100 spins or 1,000 spins, maybe they'll be the winners.
yeah, so I think people have this in their mind that they really need
Hmm.
a 80 or 90% chance of success, to really try things that may work. And really, what it comes down to is you just need a 1% edge over someone
Hmm.
else in your field to gain some level of success. Right.
That is so refreshing to hear.
There's an interesting statistic showing that Novak Djokovic, considered, obviously the best tennis player of all time, right? Aside from Federer,
Mm.
in one of his Grand Slam tournaments, which he won, he returned he returned 52% of the shots. So he only had a 2% edge across his entire Grand Slam, but he won, right? And so I would say I'm pretty sure that anyone has a 1 to 2% edge in a field that they enjoy, which is
Mm.
worth taking a risk on. If they do that enough times, I'm pretty sure something will land and they will find success. So,
Absolutely.
I would say be a casino. You just need a 1 to 2% edge. You don't need a 90% edge.
Love the sound of that. Just be a casino and get that 1 to 2% edge. And what you said ties in directly with what James Clear says, the author of Atomic Habits, to say
Right.
if 51% of your habits are in the direction of success, the rest will just follow. You may have bad habits, don't need to beat yourself up about it. Of course, you've got to get rid of those and they're impossible. As long as you're going 51% in the right direction, over time it all accumulates and kind of ties
Yeah.
into simply what you're saying. Great.
Is
So, what would you say to somebody right now who's got a cushy job, earning a good salary, knows how they're going to pay their mortgage the next week or next day, to jumping ship and following their passion? What couple of tips would you give to them to help them push over the edge?
right. Yeah. So what I would want to say is just screw the job and try something you like, right? But
Fair
let's be
enough.
realistic. A more helpful piece of advice would be um, try if you have, if there's something you're passionate about solving,
Mm.
whatever it is, try and de-risk it as much as possible before you go all in. And I think this is de-risking an idea is an incredible skill to have because you
Mm.
essentially could spend a tenth of the cost to understand whether something is going to land before it does actually land. So I would say de-risk an idea as much
What
as
do you mean by
possible.
de-risking? Like
Yeah,
de-risking the cost or the downside of it going wrong?
yeah, right. What I mean by de-risking is like, are you producing something that people will like and use, right? And how do you understand whether people will like or use this product? And
Mm.
the best way to de-risk an idea is to, there's I'd say probably there's three methodologies. The first is sell before it's ready. So if you have a program, if you have a course, I would
Mm.
already start talking about it before you finalize this course, right?
Yeah.
If you have a product that you want to bring to market, I would start talking about it before it's ready, right? That's the first thing. Sell before you produce. The second thing is release when it's 70% ready. So if you have a course, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you wait for it to be perfect, you'll never release it. And you'll spend 6, to 12 months trying to perfect it and realizing you've gone the completely wrong direction.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say release when something is 70% ready. So whether you have a course that's you think is 70% good enough, release it. If you have a product that you think is 70% good enough, release it. That's the second thing. And then the
Mm-hmm.
third thing is relentlessly iterate and improve. And the faster your feedback cycle, I would say the faster the route to success. I think
Mm.
one fundamental difference that has changed the way we work is trying to find ways to implement fast feedback cycles, right? So
Mm.
whether we've developed a close relationship with a customer to say, hey, by the way, do you mind catching up every Monday to test a new feature of our product and give us your feedback? Every Monday, though, you have to be there from 4 to 5 p.m. You have to give us feedback. And
Brilliant.
prior to that, we were doing feedback, maybe once every quarter. Now it's once a week. That is
Once
a
a week.
feedback cycle that you can
And that's a
see.
great principle to drive a business by. There's the whole hockey stick analogy for learning. We can either learn like this or we
Yeah,
learn with an exponential curve. And by
yeah,
speeding up the feedback loop, like you just said, between your versions of new software released and what you get heard about it, what results it drives, just brings you to that inflex moment, or I think it's inflection point of inflection very quickly. Great sharing over there. No running out of time. Very quick piece of advice I'd like to ask you for. What advice would you give to your 18-year-old self at the moment? Number one. And number two, what would be the biggest challenge forget external challenges like the economy and Brexit and all that kind of stuff. What internal business challenge you reckon you've got to overcome in the next 12 months, number one? And number two, the advice you'd give to your 18-year-old self.
Okay, 18-year-old. So that's a good question. So I think my main advice is to my 18-year-old self is the advice I give now to other young startups, and that is really to challenge everything, understand every problem that you face in your internal life, right? Whether this be, I don't know, you have a problem with the way you order a books, you have a problem with the way that pizza gets delivered to your house, right? The more observant you are about these problems, the better you can understand how to solve them. And those solutions could actually turn out to be extremely good ideas.
Awesome.
There's a recent business that spun up because a student didn't like the way, a student found in his area that pizzas were being delivered to his house. More often than not, they were cold, right? And he developed a solution to keep pizzas warm, right? And that's now a thriving business. So it's like being observant of the problems and challenges that you face in your own life is probably the biggest, I guess, genesis of an idea. The second thing is, what's the biggest business challenge we have to face over the next 5 years, do you say?
Over the next 12 months, specifically for your business, kind of yeah.
Yeah, I think over the next 12 months is, so we're right now at the stage where we're scaling our company with a lot of larger corporate clients. So I think our challenge over the next 12 months would be ensuring that we hire well. How do we acquire the right people who will be with, who will work on our business for a long period of time? And how do we ensure that there is a culture fit with those individuals as well? Right. I've had a lot of experience with employees which are extremely skilled, but just don't fit the culture. And you have to make a hard decision. Like, how do you axe a really skilled employee but just, who doesn't fit the culture of the company? So I think that's my biggest challenge, and something I'm not really too good at, is hiring the right people that fit culturally within our organization.
You mentioned an important buzzword right there, culture. And as we all know, culture eats strategy for
Yes.
breakfast. So important challenge you got coming up, probably not just yourself, but everybody out there. Nikhil, you've been amazing. Some real gems of learnings you've passed across. I've got literally a whole page of learnings. You just got to get the 51% edge. A 51% edge,
Yeah. Be a
and you kind
casino.
of made it. Think casino. Love it. Think casino.
Be the
Nikhil, you've
house.
been amazing. Have a fantastic evening ahead. And thank you for sharing your wonderful learnings with the business community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.